I'm always generous. I'm always liberal. I'm always a gentleman. And yeah, we'll have Cynthia Agbora here in the studio. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm very well.
All right.
I do not know why we chose to start with a love song. I'm not a preacher of love.
Oh, you are the Indabus. You are the war. Anyway, we had to start the show with a song by George Washington Benson. He's an American jazz fusion guitarist, singer, and songwriter, and he began his professional career at the age of 19 as a jazz guitarist. Now, that song, Nothing is Gonna Change My Love, is a reassurance to you guys that in this month of July, I have come to love you again, and I will try to keep loving you in the best way that I can. Just a
O'Shea,
little.
Whitney Houston.
I will take the love back home. How are you guys doing? Hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. Hope it was a beautiful one. Hope it was successful. Hope you had all the great things. For me, I had fun. I mean, I would have showed you pictures of my phone, right? But I don't want you people to think some of that things. But I had a great weekend anyway.
I assure you we will not. I think I'm more particularly excited about the second half of the year.
What's happening there?
Well, the first 6 months have come and gone, and now we have the second half. And you know how it is that, let me use this analogy, a football match. You know,
Okay.
after the first half, the second half is usually an opportunity to either consolidate on the gains that you have made in the first, or try to make amends in an event where things did not go according to plan the first time. Yeah, so what it now means is that from July to December presents an opportunity for you to, yes, if it was such a great first half, okay, how do we leverage on that to make sure that we do not go down? But just perhaps that things did not go according to plan. What it now means is that it's an opportunity for you to do better, whether it's for your business, for your finances, in your relationship with other people. Yeah, even in your relationship with how do you treat yourself? These are the kind of things that you should be thinking about and making changes with regards to. So, but this is wishing you all the very best in the remaining months of the year.
Okay. All right. It's Monday, and of course, it is Motivational Monday. So it would be good for us to start with some great words, and afterwards, we're going to move on to health. First of all, let's have our laws of power. This particular one is power number 16, law number 16, rather, and it's really going to boost you this new month.
If you've noticed, when a celebrity arrives at a party, they leave within 5 minutes, claiming they need to go to another event, even though they really don't have another event. They just don't want to lower their value by being too available. This is law of power number 16. Robert Greene, the author of the 48 Laws of Power, states that the more you are seen and heard, the more ordinary you appear. That is why some celebrities do not appear in TV commercials. They do not want to decrease their value by being constantly in front of people. The world operates on the principles of supply and demand. The more available something is, the less people value it and begin to take it for granted. Therefore, if you want to increase your respect and reputation, learn to be absent sometimes. Upgrade your charisma and master the art of psychology in our account.
All right, welcome back. That was talking about reducing your availability so that you can have more value. It's as simple as that. So in this new month, try as much as possible. Make see finish, no enter. Because when you are always that person where you're always coming, you're always there, you're always there, you're always there. If they happen for you, you're there. They happen, come on, they'll see you finish. So try as much as possible too. And then when you show up like me. When I show up, they know that I'm there. What?
I think that's actually valid.
All right, definitely this morning we have to treat you to some good health tips. So all right, welcome back. Namaste. That's the Ugo's favorite woman. If he doesn't see that woman in the morning, Ugo run temperature.
So you're rather not going to talk about the important things that she mentioned about how to cope with the cold that comes with the rainy season, yeah? So I'm sure you got all of those tips. It's going to help you stay healthy because, you know how it is that when the rains have not started and it's like really hot, everyone is complaining, the rains should come, the weather needs to be cool. The first time the rain comes, everyone is going to love it.
It's always very hot.
Well, let me put it this way. The early part of raining season is cool. But after that, the fact that you can just be going about your daily business and and it's crazy. It's worse in Abuja.
Oh, Abuja rain is not a good lover.
It is worse because it can be so hot. The sun can be shining this minute. The very next second is raining cats and dogs.
And not even start with the fact that it could be raining in Mitama, and then it's not raining in Lokogoma, for example. And then you have a meeting in Lokogoma, and you're telling somebody, "Hey, bro, I can't come because it's raining." And the person is like, "Bro, it's not raining where I am, but let's say you don't want to come this meeting."
It's crazy.
It has happened to me before, like twice, and I felt so stupid. I felt like they thought I was lying. I said, "Bro, I'm not." I had to video, like, see, it is raining here. So, it can be so annoying. But at the end of the day, we dey manage them like that.
Oh my God.
We dey manage them. All right, let's see if we can take the papers very quickly before it gets to 8 o'clock, and then we'll learn some new words probably afterwards. Yeah, let's take the papers very quickly if it's ready. Okay, first, the Guardian newspaper. On the currency commoditization, we have empty ATMs dot Metropolis as bank trade cash with POS operators. Refineries. Okay, can we go back to the Guardian, please? There are some interesting stories there. Refineries to begin operations before January, Senate assures. Mayhem looms in North over hardship. Lookman wants. Let's go to the next paper, see what's there.
The Punch is up next. Above the masthead, fantastic. Federal government withdraws 5 oil blocks from 2024 bid round. Senate resumes probe as AGF submits, 30 trillion naira loan documents. Okay. Jackpot outrage as UK-based driver remains on federal government's payroll. Collecting from home and abroad. Lagos and Calabar Highway South-South section begins August as federal government suspends new roads. And the big story on the Punch this morning, import duty, bank plane grounded as federal government clamps down on private jets. Aircraft stop from flying over alleged 1.9 billion naira unpaid import duties. And that's the much you can take from the Punch newspaper this morning.
All right. Moving on to Daily Sun, why Southeast governors must work together. This is coming from Pitobi. Borno death toll rises to 18, 42 badly injured. 30 suicide bombers deployed, officials say. Purveyors will pay heavy price. This is coming from the president. Northern governors, UN chief condemn attacks. We here also condemn the attack. Let's move on to the next paper, if possible.
Vanguard is up next. Kunga's Conga's ex-CEO's death, not suicide. Oh, that's interesting now. Coming from the family. Details on page 6. We have Boronu attacks. Tinubu vows to deal with perpetrators. They released that story that we saw from there over the weekend. Agony as federal government's retirees groan under 230 billion naira pension arrears. No payment made for over a year. Legally binding upward review suspended for 15 years. Stakeholders call for boycott of government securities. Regular dialogue pressure from labor required, coming from the pension operators. We have why I want Southeast governors to work together from Peter Obi. Nigeria still using 1966 67 map for surveyors. Oh, okay. I don't know if that should be a cause for worry. Exit of multinationals, opportunity for local industries. That's coming from the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. Well, a lot of people wouldn't see it like that. Most of the companies that are leaving, because of the adverse economic situation, well, it does have all of its effects. People losing their jobs and, the effect in the long term. But those are some of the stories from the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
Okay, Daily Times, purveyors of wanton violence will pay heavy price. This is coming from Tinubu. Says federal government won't allow Nigeria to slither into era of fear, tears, sorrow, blood. NSGF condemns Gwoza suicide attack. Tinubu responsible for resurgence of terrorism in Northeast, says Atiko. All right, let's move on very quickly.
Leadership is up next. Stakeholders excited over executive order on local drug production. Conga's ex-CEO death, not suicide. Serap to CBN accounts for missing 100 billion naira dirty notes. Okay. We'll have minimum wage. Lawyers back NLC say the FEC, that's the Federal Executive Council, can't negotiate for workers. And lastly, on the leadership, Borno bomb attacks. Nigeria won't slide into era of fear. Tinubu vows, says terrorists will pay heavy price. And U.S. government condemn attacks. Death toll rises to 21 as security operatives arrest 2 female bombers. And that's all from Leadership newspaper this morning.
Let's wrap up with Daily Trust and then sports. On Daily Trust, Cybercrime Act, despite amendment, clamped down on journalists, desists. And 25 reporters face prosecution since 2015. Nigeria, one of West Africa's most dangerous places to practice. I think I told you that at the time. Police, federal government, presidency. What? Okay, can't really see that. This is coming from a relative in Gwoza. I lost 5 family members in Gwoza attacks. Governor Ada queries Katsina Emir. NESG back CBN stoppage of price verification system on FX. Let's now move on to sports.
Okay, Sporting Sun. Lookman tempted with, oh my goodness, 16 billion naira Saudi offer.
I don't collect that for him.
Oh my God. Everyone wants Lookman now.
Oh well.
Sport tables £600,000 a season salary for Onuachu. Euro 2024 pressure mounts as Ronaldo's Portugal brace for underdogs Slovenia. Man United offers player plus cash for Osimhen. Ihan Acho and 8 others quit Leicester City. And Oshola's goal seals win for Bay FC. Manchester United set to announce Ten Hag's future. And there's a story on Chelsea as well. Anthony Joshua suffers caught during sparring session with kids. And, a couple of more stories there on Sporting Sun. Leave Osimhen alone. Sports Minister Eno cautions NFF on Napoli striker Finidi saga. Okay, leave Osimhen alone. And I think that's where we're going to leave the papers right now.
Talking about Osimhen, so one of my friends on Facebook did put out a very good statement regarding Osimhen. It's amazing how the man's name is not bubbling out there like it used to be before. It just in this past 2 weeks thereabout.
Osimhen?
Yes.
I think he's rather been notorious in what's it now? Enjoying himself. It's like that because he's not doing what he normally does, which is play football. So if you're not playing, if you're not scoring because he's a striker.
But we have other people who they are still on the news. I look at Lookman now, for example. We're having, we are having his name
the
coming
transfer
out.
speculations for Osimhen going to Man U are still there. It's not as if
It has been speculation for 1 month now.
for some players it's like that. There are speculations about players that go on for as long as years. Before Bruno Fernandes came to Manchester United, they talked and talked and talked and talked and talked. So, I mean, when it comes to transfers, there's a lot. It's either there's a challenge from the player's side or from his family. Maybe he's not really comfortable moving to a new city, or from the club. Maybe they're not comfortable with the price tag, or there's just a whole lot at play. Sometimes work permit and all of that. So, I'm sure before the end of the summer, there would be something definitive with regards to exactly where Osimhen will be playing his football next season. But maybe we should leave the young man alone, because when you go,
I'm not gonna leave you alone.
Why is he partying? Why is he doing this one? Why is he smiling? Why?
How about that? Well, since we are.
Why is he drinking?
Why will he drink?
He's always holding this one.
Why
he's holding that one.
Why should he even carry that cup and drink?
To be. It's like, okay, it's like what you say. Yeah. After working, what do you do with your salary?
I chop life.
Exactly. Exactly. That young man earns what? $1 billion dollars. I mean, $1 billion naira every year. Do you know what it means to earn $1 billion naira every year? So for some people, when you give them that kind of money,
how long has he earned that 1 billion?
I mean, that's his salary right now at Napoli.
In Nigerian naira, right?
Yes.
Okay. No, it's a small thing. Anyway, we would have to skip some of the items.
I missed that up. What he earns every month is 1 billion naira.
1 billion naira.
Yes. So in a year, he has 12 billion naira.
Okay, no. What's the rating? Is it pounds? No, euros?
No, you'd have to do the translation now, or the calculation, however you want to call it. But in Nigerian naira, the money that he is paid at the end of every month is equivalent to 1 billion naira.
It's not in that. It's not a problem.
It's not a problem.
You can chop it in 2 weeks.
Okay. Approved.
So we do have a couple of things that we're supposed to share with you, but we would have to keep them till the other side when Ugo is done with his sports. So, but at this point, we have to move on to one of our items that cannot wait, because it's sport related and it's about the NCAA. We hear that the NCAA removes cannabis from list of banned drugs during championship. And that's about the NCAA has removed marijuana and cannabis products from its banned drug list for Division 1 champions and college football postseason, effective immediately. Now, this decision made following Division 1 council meetings shifts the focus from punishing to harm reduction, emphasizing student athlete health and well-being. Now, the change comes after a recommendation from the NCAA's Committee on Competitive Safeguards and Medical Aspects of Sport, noting that previous policies were ineffective deterrent to cannabis use. What do you think?
I think it was Whoopi Goldberg who came out recently to say that, what's it now, marijuana and cannabis should be legalized.
Cannabis sativa.
As more like medical substances, things that people should be allowed to take if they feel a certain kind of way. You understand? And that for basketball players, I mean, I think it was in 2023 where it was reported that 26% of student athletes actually use cannabis. I mean, people use, those kind of substances for different reasons. But for an athlete, you have to be, you want to be careful, because when you abuse substances like that, it now becomes a problem. It becomes a problem for you. It becomes a problem for your team, especially when you have to now rely on those substances before you can perform or before you can do your duty as an athlete. So
That's slipping through already. You're getting addicted to it now.
exactly. So I hope the NCAA must have done their homework before coming out with that statement. You don't want to have your athletes and your players, hooked on a particular substance before they can give you the quality of play and competition that you expect from them.
Okay. Well, let's see how. Well, they might have done their findings and see that, okay, well, maybe I mean, with or without our backing, these guys are using these things, so why not we just make it okay, and then maybe that would give them some sort of caution.
So from that 26% that said, oh, that it was discovered used the substance, a greater number of them said for medical reasons. So you want to ask, was it a doctor who prescribed the use of cannabis? Some people say, oh, they use it because some of the students said, student athletes, they use it because it helps them deal with depression, anxiety, and stress. So that's why I said you have to be really careful. I mean, most of the things that happen to us in life, it's basically to get us depressed and anxious. So are you going to keep dealing with depression and anxiety by taking cannabis?
You know, the kind of, listen, I feel every, anyway.
Should we have the NBC? Let's have the NBC approve the use of cannabis for presenters
for medical
and broadcasters.
Because it's not easy, my brother. Anyway, it's time for sports, and I will be out of here.
A very good morning, and thank you for joining us on a magical and mesmerizing Monday morning edition of Rapid Sports right here on Rapid Television Channel 176 on Star Times. Ugochukwu Madmer is my name, and it's the Morning Tonic we ingest once every 24 hours, Monday to Friday on this channel. It's the very first for the month of July on the front burner Copa America, the Euros 2024. And of course, I had the oldest football competition come to a crescendo over the weekend, talking about the President's Federation Cup. Used to be known as the FA Cup in Nigeria. It was a battle of the Warriors, and at the end of the day, it was the Warriors from Maiduguri, El Kanemi, who got the better of the Warriors from Umuahia, talking about Abia Warriors. And of course, now they will now join, talking about El Kanemi Warriors, will now join Aimba as Nigeria's other representative in the CAF Confederation Cup. And there are lots of questions, people asking, what if Abia Warriors won the President's Federation Cup? What would have happened? Would the two of them have been able to represent Nigeria in continental football, knowing very well that one of the rules is that we cannot have two clubs who are under the same management or who are owned and managed by the same company or the same individual. In this case, the government. Would it have been possible for the two of them to feature in continental football? Well, that and plenty more if you keep your channel locked right here on Star Times 176. Very quickly, let's start off with athletics, where the Athletics Federation of Nigeria has trashed a trending report stating that 40 athletes that represented the country at the 2024 African Senior Athletics Championship traveled by night bus from Nigeria to Douala, Cameroon. The venue of the event rounded off earlier this week. David Doherty, an aspirant in the last Nigeria Football Federation presidential election, shared a post on his Facebook page that took a swipe at the AFN for not only disrespecting the globally acclaimed athletes, but also exposing them to security risk. And he said, I can confirm to you that 40 of Nigeria's most valuable athletes from Benin City to Benin Republic en route to Douala, Cameroon, were on a night bus. And the AFN, through its media officer, Gowon Akpododo, quashed the claim as he explained Team Nigeria's travel plans in a telephone conversation with sports correspondents over the weekend. Remember, at the championship, Nigeria won 5 gold, 6 silver, 4 bronze to finish third with a total of 15 medals behind South Africa, who led the table with a total of 20 medals. And of course, Kenya came second with 19 medals. The next edition of this African Senior Athletics Championship will take place at the University of Ghana, Accra in 2026. Well, the defense, or rather the statement discrediting the earlier report from the AFN, said, do they take bus to Douala? You either go by air or by sea. The plan was to charter Air Peace to convey the contingent from Benin City, but that couldn't happen due to paucity of funds. The athletes were then advised to converge in Lagos and travel to Cotonou, Benin Republic, where they traveled to Douala on Air Cameroon. As you know, Air Cameroon doesn't come to Nigeria, so the only option was to travel to Cotonou and board the flight to Douala, offering a bit of an explanation as to what exactly transpired there. Now, newly promoted Nigeria Premier Football League side, El Academy Warriors, have won this year's President's Cup, Federation Cup, by defeating Abia Warriors 2-0 in the final at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena in Lagos. The Maiduguri side thus secured Nigeria's second CAF Confederation Cup ticket for next season and will vie for honors in Africa's second-tier club competition alongside Eimba, who earlier sealed their spot following their performance in the 2023-2024 season, where they finished third in the MPFL. Midfielder Nasiru Salihu stole the show, scoring both goals, one in each half, as the Borno Army claimed their third Federation Cup title after triumphs in 1991 and 1992. Aliyu Zubairu's side were not the favorites heading into Battle of Warriors, but they showed a sense of purpose from the start and created the first real chance of the game inside 15 minutes, winning a penalty after Aramin Umar was hacked in the Abia Warriors box. Abia Warriors goalkeeper Ali Ishaku, however, guessed correctly to his left and denied Nasiru Salihu from the spot. But guess what? It was also the same young man who scored the 2 goals with which Academy Warriors won the game. Academy Warriors kept up their intensity, and there was no denying Salihu again in the 32nd minute as the midfielder finished off a beautiful team move to give the Maiduguri side the lead. And he did double that particular scoreline in the second half to make the scoreline 2-0. Well, definitely no coming back for Abia Warriors after that second goal. Salihu's brilliance epitomized the underrated quality of the Maiduguri side. Earlier in the women's final played earlier that day at the same venue, a first half stoppage time penalty by Blessing Okwe was all Rivers Angels needed to edge Niger Ratels of the FCT, claiming their 9th title. Not really happy about that one. It should have been won by Niger Ratels. Well, let's move on to other sports now, away from Nigeria, where at the Austrian Grand Prix, George Russell claimed a dramatic victory for Mercedes on Sunday after a sensational late collision between series leader Max Verstappen of Red Bull and his nearest rival Lando Norris of McLaren in the closing laps of an action-packed Austrian Grand Prix. It was the British driver's second career victory, endorsing the improved form of the Mercedes team in recent races as he made the most of Verstappen's impulsive and aggressive move against Norris to finish 1.9 seconds clear of Oscar Piastri in the second McLaren. And in other results, Carlos Sainz finished third for Ferrari ahead of 7-time champion Lewis Hamilton in the second Mercedes, and Verstappen, who finished 5th despite collecting a 10-second penalty for causing the crash with Norris, who was forced to retire his damaged car. And away from Grand Prix now to the beautiful game of tennis. Today, at Flushing Meadows, the Wimbledon will, of course, be starting. It's been absolutely frenetic so far in the tennis season. We've had the Australian Open, we've had the French Open at Roland Garros, and now we have Flushing Meadows upon us, and it's, of course, the Wimbledon. Carlos Alcaraz begins his defense of his Wimbledon title at the All England Club today. Opening play on centre court against Estonia's Mark Lajal, the world's 262nd best player. Alcaraz, who stunned 7-time champion Novak Djokovic in a 5-set final in 2023, is looking to become just the 6th man to complete the French Open Wimbledon double in the same season. Also in action on the opening day are world's #1 Yannick Sinner, US Open champion Coco Gauff, and Australian Open winner Aryna Sabalenka. And we'll have Carlos Alcaraz up against Mark Lajal. And of course, we'll have Yannick Sinner versus Yannick Hanfman, the 22-year-old Sinner, alongside Alcaraz, is in the vanguard of tennis next generation. Remember, he did win his first Grand Slam title at the Australian Open, and then deposed Novak Djokovic as world number 1, becoming the first Italian man to reach such heights. And he made the quarterfinals at Wimbledon in 2022 and the semifinals last year, where he was swept away in straight sets by Djokovic. We have Brenda Furitova versus Mira Andreeva. Remember that Andreeva did get to the finals of the last French Open. And Andy Murray remains hopeful he will play at Wimbledon, but admits it's unlikely to be in the singles competition after undergoing surgery on a spinal cyst. The 37-year-old, who confirmed he's planning to play for Britain in the Olympics in what could be the final event of his career, had the procedure on Saturday after experiencing weakness in his right leg while playing at Queen's last week. So it's possible that, what's his name again? Andy Murray might be participating, but not in the singles event. And let's talk about Novak Djokovic for a moment. Naomi Osaka said yesterday she hopes to mark her daughter's first birthday by winning, by marking a winning return to Wimbledon, thanks to a helping hand from Novak Djokovic. The Japanese superstar, a 4-time Grand Slam champion and a former world number 1, hasn't played at the All England club since 2019. Osaka takes on Diane Perry of France in an opener later on today, the day before she celebrates her daughter's Shai's first birthday. In order to improve her chances at this year's tournament, Osaka has sounded out 7-time Wimbledon champion Novak Djokovic. And at the recent French Open, she gave world number 1 Iga Swiatek a mighty scare, holding a match point in a second-round clash before the pole preview. I mean, it was a really intriguing and interesting match. And the order of play today, like I told you, Alcaraz is playing Mark Lajal in the women's singles. Ekaterina Alexandrova up against Emma Raducanu. And of course, Caroline Dolhide versus Coco Gauff. And in the men's singles first round, we have Alexander Kovacevic up against Dani Medvedev. In the women's singles, Emina Beshkas up against Arina Sabalenka. Yannick Sinner versus Yannick. Grigor Dimitrov versus Dusan Lajovic. And of course, Stanislas Wawrinka of Australia versus Charles Broome. Naomi Osaka versus Diane Parry of France. Victoria Azarenka versus Sloane Stevens of Britain. We have in the men's singles, Alex Bolt versus Kaspar Ruud, Yasmin Poalini, and of course, Sarah Sorribes-Tormo. And we have Martina Trevisan versus Madison Keys. Tommy Paul will be playing Pedro Martinez. Maktani Kessler, and of course, Maria Sakkari will be going head-to-head. And I mean, there's quite a lot of interesting matchups to watch out today. Last one, not before the 6:30, would be, of course, Paulo Badoza versus Karolina Muchova. Now, let's go to some of the transfers. Right there in the transfer market, a lot of moves. Remember, we did talk about this sometime on the Breakfast Show. News regarding Douglas Luiz, his anticipated move to Juventus now has been completed, because Juventus have signed Brazil midfielder Douglas Luiz from Aston Villa in a deal worth a reported £42.3 million. And that's about $53.5 million yesterday. Luiz agreed a 5-year contract with the Italian club as he became the latest player to leave Villa Park due to the Premier League club's financial fair play cost cutting. Signed from Man City in 2019, the 26-year-old spent 5 years with Villa and was a key player in their 4th-place finish in the Premier League last season. He scored 22 goals in 204 appearances for Villa, completed his medical ahead of the Juventus move while on international duty with Brazil, and really, really happy for him. He will be joining the Juventus side that finished 3rd in Serie A last season, 24 points behind champions Inter Milan. Tottenham have been linked with Villa midfielder Jacob Ramsey, while Emery has signed Chelsea's Ian Maatsen and Everton's Lewis Dobbin. Villa have already sold team Ire Bunam to Everton for $9 million during the close season, while Chelsea paid $19 million for Omari Kellyman. Now, talking about Omari, this time Omari Hutchinson, newly promoted side Ipswich Town, have signed Omari Hutchinson on a permanent deal from Chelsea. The two Premier League clubs said on Sunday with the forward penning a 5-year contract. Ipswich said Hutchinson had joined for a club record fee without disclosing the amount, while British media have reported it should be around £20 million. That's about $25 million. And Ipswich ended a 22-year exile from the Premier League when they secured second place in the Championship last season. Well, still talking about transfers and Chelsea in particular. Chelsea have agreed a £30 million fee with Leicester City for midfielder Kieran Dewsbury Hall. The 25-year-old is set to have a medical at Stamford Bridge and will sign a 6-year deal until 2030. So let's keep our fingers crossed and see how that one pans out. Well, for other news making the rounds in mainland Europe this morning, Liverpool, Arsenal and Chelsea, and of course West Ham, in fact, are all interested in signing 22-year-old Italy defender Riccardo Calafiori, but will have to pay in excess of £40 million to price him away from Bologna. A number of Barcelona directors remain unconvinced about the merits of signing Spain's Euro 2024 star winger Nico Williams from Athletic Bilbao. Brighton have been left frustrated after Chelsea agreed a deal to sign midfielder Dewsbury Hall. Leicester are close to agreeing a deal to sign 18-year-old midfielder Michael Godin from Chelsea. Newcastle are trying to negotiate a deal to sign Tottenham Forest Greek goalkeeper Odysseus Vlachodimos, 30 years of age, as part of a 21-year-old Scotland midfielder Elliot Anderson's move to the City ground. Manchester United are unlikely to pursue a deal for Barcelona defender Ronald Araujo, despite long-standing interest in the 25-year-old Uruguayan international. Newcastle boss Eddie Howe has made it clear in talks with the club's board that they should not look to cash in on striker Alexander Isak, who has courted interest from Chelsea. Tottenham are said to trigger an option to extend 31-year-old South Korea forward Sung Heung-min's contract with the club until 2026. Now, let's go to what transpired yesterday in England, or rather in Germany, in the match involving England and Slovakia. It was a round of 16 match, and for the very first time, we saw a match go into extra time. England escaped an embarrassing exit from Euro 2024 as they came from behind to beat Slovakia in extra time and reached the quarterfinals, while Spain defeated surprise package Georgia 4-1 to set up a mouth-watering quarterfinal showdown with host Germany. A Jude Bellingham overhead kick deep in the injury time and a hurricane strike early in the second in the extra time allowed England to beat Slovakia 2-1 in their last 16 tie. And for Spain, well, it started off with Georgia giving Spain a little bit of a scare, because they were the ones that scored first through an own goal by Robin Lenormand, but it ended 4-1 at the end of the day, and we had the likes of Rodri equalizing, Fabian Ruiz headed in cross from Lamine Yamal, and of course Nico Williams scored a brilliant goal for Spain on the 75th minute, and substitute Dani Olmo wrapped up the victory 7 minutes from time. Today, we're going to see France play Belgium, and we have yet another interesting match by 8 p.m. as well. There's still a lot more, and of course, we'll have the Copa America still on. Venezuela dispatched Jamaica by 3-0. Well, until tomorrow, when we will be back to tell you more from the world of sports, Ugochukwu Madumere is my name. Thank you so much for watching. The Breakfast Show continues in just a moment.
All right, we are at the other side of 9, getting ready to leave this place. Just a couple of minutes, we will survive it. All right, so I think it's best we start with our new words for today, since it wasn't taken earlier on. Let's have our new words. Can we please have the new words? Okay.
All right, our first word is lethological. I didn't get that. Let me take it again. Lethologica. Okay, because I don't know where I added the L at the end. It's a noun, and it's a Greek word. When you think of something, but the word for it escapes you. So yeah, that is known as lethologica. Okay? All right, let's have the next one. A an enthusiast. It's someone who hides pain behind a smile. Not an easy place to be, but yeah, there are some people who are masters, as it were, at hiding their pain with lots and lots and lots of smiles.
It's called suffering and smiling.
All right, let's also have the next word. Fugel, and this word dates all the way back to the 18th century, and it means pretending to work when you're not actually doing anything at all. The word fugel. Okay, let's have the next word.
Continue.
Isolophilia, which is a strong affection for solitude and being alone. That's not really a great place to be, but there's definitely a word for it. Isolophilia. What it means is that you have strong affection for solitude and being alone. Now, if this happens sometimes, I think it's okay. Just one or two times when you want to be by yourself and maybe think about your life and ruminate over certain things. You just need that quiet, that solitude. That's nice, yeah. But when that's literally what you crave for every time, then you might need to sit down with a therapist, talk to a friend, open up to somebody. Basically, what we're saying is social interaction, social connection is definitely good for you.
Well, at the end of the day, if it gives you peace of mind, it's all about what gives you peace of mind. If it gives you peace of mind, if it makes you happy, why not? It just makes you avoid unnecessary pain. So you just stay on your own and be happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, basically. Anyway, so these are our new words for you. Hope you jot that down. And just in case I get to ask you, you will not say you forgot. I hope you wrote that down. All right. So let's now look at some interesting things that we would want you to also write down. And it might just be some new information or something you already know before. And I'm going to find out if Ugo knew these things before or not. So let's start with animals. So did you know that the inland, okay, no, not that one. That might be a bit hard for you. Did you know that the horned lizard can shoot blood from its eyes up to 3 feet away as a defense mechanism?
That's an interesting fact, definitely. Didn't
Okay.
know that before now.
Okay. Did you know that hummingbirds are the only known birds that can fly backwards?
Didn't even know that any bird could fly.
Now you know.
Okay.
All right. Did you know that flamingos are not born with pink feathers? They are born gray, but the food they eat contains a natural pink dye that turns their feathers pink.
So the food they eat is the reason for the. Should I call it the discoloration now of the feathers?
Well, dye. You
I think
dye 'em.
that's also an interesting fact.
Okay, so let's see. Let's see which one again. The shortest living animal in the world is the mayfly, and its lifespan is just 24 hours.
That's definitely interesting.
Just imagine you have only 24 hours to live. You spend it making yourself happy. Let's see which other nice one. Yes, this one is interesting. Did you know that the inland taipan is the most venomous snake in the world? Its venom can kill a person in 30 minutes if left untreated. You do not want to be in that position. So these ones are for animals. There are other interesting ones, but we won't use all of them today. Just what I need to know. Did you know? But obviously, Ugo didn't know. So you see, at least you've learned. But I didn't see you jotting that down.
I definitely have them up here.
Okay, remind me.
I was one of those bright students,
So what's the first thing I said?
top on the class.
Oh yeah, what was the first thing I said?
A lizard that could shoot something from his eyes as a sort of defense mechanism. And then there was something about flamingos and the color of the feathers. And then, yeah, basically.
That was not. I didn't say all these two things.
Sometimes when you could answer 2 out of 5 or 4 questions, it might just be enough to get you a pass.
Okay, I think we'll go on a very short break now. At this time, we'll be right back. Yo, what the fuck is wrong?
Hey Stars, get more value for your money with StarTimes Upgrade promo. Recharge 1 month on Nova, Basic, or Classic Bouquet and get upgraded to the next bouquet to enjoy exciting top shows like Hidden Truth,
Even if something happens between you,
For the Crowd,
Because I share this apartment.
Celebrity Cook-Off,
Okay, viewers.
Now, by the time we use half of it, the food goes sweet well.
Prides of Passion, and more. If you're on Super Bouquet, recharge for 1 month and get an extra 5 days free. La Liga is back on StarTimes. Anticipate, family. Hey Stars, get more value for your money with StarTimes Upgrade promo. Recharge 1 month on Nova, Basic, or Classic Bouquet and get upgraded to the next bouquet to enjoy exciting top shows like Hidden Truth,
even if something happens between you,
For the Crowd,
Because I share this apartment.
Celebrity Cook-Off,
Okay, viewers.
Now, by the time we use half of it, the food goes sweet well.
Prides of Passion, and more. If you're on Super Bouquet, recharge for 1 month and get an extra 5 days free. La Liga is back on StarTimes. Anticipate.
All right, welcome back. It's still Rapid Dawn right here this beautiful morning. So we had to take a short break there after giving you some information. Let's now move on to some things to keep you updated. Of course, it's a new week, and of course, many things have happened over the weekend. We just try to refresh your mind about some of the things that caught our attention this beautiful Monday morning. So we are aware of what has been going on in Kenya, and also a good news on child marriage. We also have, try not to dwell on the bad news this beautiful morning because it's a Monday, and so it's good to start with positivity. And then there is a story of a church that is selling heavenly land. I think that we should take that first before we move on to other stories. The church selling heavenly land. They say it is heaven land for sale. Let's
Okay,
have
so you need to die before you get access to the land, or what?
No, no.
Okay.
Let's have that video on the
This
screen.
Christian church in Mexico is selling plots of land in heaven starting at $100 per square meter. You can even pay with American Express, Apple Pay, or set up a payment plan. The pastor of the Church of End Time says he spoke to God in 2017 and he authorized the sale of his plots. And buying any plot, regardless of the size, secures your spot in heaven. So far, they've already collected millions of dollars from selling the supposed land. Could this be one of the largest real estate scams in history?
I need to buy my own plot. I want to build a 4-bedroom terrace in that my plot of land.
So the last time that I remember a passage of the Bible where he said, "I go to prepare a place for you,"
Okay.
and talks about mansions in heaven. It was Jesus himself who was making that particular statement about mansions in heaven and how beautiful it is, and that he was going to prepare a place.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, if there's anybody to pay any amount of money, if it's anybody to give millions of dollars to secure a property for you above, it should be Jesus himself.
But you cannot
And
see Jesus now.
the last time I checked, he did not appoint anybody to be his agent to now have to be physically collecting money from people in order to secure property for them in heaven. And I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. And it tells you how vulnerable people become, whenever talk about spiritual stuff, religious stuff, not spiritual stuff now,
Okay.
religious stuff, comes off. Some people become just really gullible. You can easily sway them, deceive them, cook up something, and they are ready to buy. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, like the narrator said, the biggest real estate scam. But then one might want to say, or rather the church members might want to say, oh, this is not scam. The man of God, received ordination from God. He received inspiration. I really don't know. I mean, if you want to buy a land, they will take you to the place and point that this is your land starts from here and ends here. But so now when I pay for this heavenly land, how am I going to see my space? Hope somebody will not start building in my own space. Or this heavenly land, are we going to start building anything? Or is it like your Christian life that is the building project? I don't know how people are so swayed and moved.
Well, I think for this, everybody wants to. I mean, they've always said when you go to church that there's a place after here, and your good deeds or your bad deeds will determine where you end up. So the more good things that you do, you are more likely to end up, in the good side, which is heaven. So I'm trying to be in the minds of the people who are spending their money to secure a place in heaven, allegedly, yeah? I'm thinking they see it as some form of good deed. They're trying to buy a place, and they see it as something good that they are doing. So at the end of the day, they deserve to be up there, instead of being at the other side. Well, good luck with that. Unfortunately, from the little that I know, it's not about how much that you pay. It's basically about...
It's about what?
It's about the life that you live. So, I'm not going to say more than that.
Yeah, but I mean, if it just reminds me of the TikTok story. I got to watch that TikTok documentary, and it's just like the pastor of that particular church where these TikTok stars are made celebrities, are being sponsored, but they are technically being ripped off because they have to pay offering for every single thing. So the pastor houses them like how a record label would do, right? But it's the pastor, and then members, the record guys have to be in his church. So it's more like he's owning your life. Everything you do is about, in fact, it got to a point, started telling the members that these TikTok stars that they have to cut off from their family if they really want, that nobody stays with family and pursues God. So I was watching this documentary and I was like, okay, nobody pursues God and follows family, so you have to cut off everything that would hinder you from pursuing God. And these young people were actually falling for this. They were being brainwashed, and then it got to a point that this very pastor was telling the people that what was this other thing again he was telling them, that he can, that no matter what you do in your walk with God, if you don't honor him, it's not going to work. But that's not what the scripture says. So everything was centered around him. And then the worst part was the fact that every money this TikTok stars had to make, all they are gaining is about 10 or 20%. Because if you look at, so you're going to pay the dues that is accrued to the record label, even though it's a church, is a pastor thing, then you're going to pay pastor's offering. Whether you like it or not, you have to pay offering.
So is that like a seed?
The pastor's offering?
Yes.
No, like it's mandatory. Like so if you have like a deal, let's say, oh, this TikTok star got this influencer deal with the brand. Once that money is being paid, they're taking out pastor's seed, taking out offering, taking out record label charges, taking out crazy dues that you don't even understand where it's coming from. So by the time you look at it, okay, you're going to pay housing fee because he's also has, so the record label fee now and the housing fee is different. You're going to pay the fees for the clothes they've been buying for you guys is also different from record label fee. So by the time you're done, you check how much you've worked, it's only about 10 or 20%. This is tithe also included. So these guys were being ripped off, and it's so funny that till now the case is still, that documentary came out this year, the case is still on, and according to the documentary, said by next year, no, in a couple of months, they will start the court process because some of the families, they had to sue. But then what exactly do you have? So the families had to start looking for concrete evidences to those who have managed to leave the church, coming back to give their testimonies of how they were being treated. But then again, how this process goes. So I am keenly waiting for the process to start. Let me see how the defense is going to go. But I know it's not going to be an easy one. But I just hope that these kids will be able to get justice and get all the monies that were being ripped off. Because if not, that means they technically worked for nothing all the while.
But another good question to ask was there some sort of contract that was signed by this artist? Did they look at the contract? Did they look at the terms of agreement or the terms of working, for the church? Or in this case, it's actually like an organization, Did they look at what the terms were? So unless first there was no contract, that had stipulated terms of agreement of how earnings would be disbursed, and then we're just going by as the Spirit leads, or there was actually a list of this and this and this are what's involved, and someone did not pay attention before putting pen to paper. So these are some of the questions that even if you go to court, there is a scenario where the church walks free if due diligence was not done by the artist.
Well, let's see how the case goes as it's set to start in a couple of months. Let's see how it goes. Hopefully, there would be answers, and maybe, just maybe, the pastor might have his due punishment or walk free, depending on the outcome. All right, let's now move on to I think, what's the time now? Okay, I think it's time for us to talk about another happy story on the child marriage in Sierra Leone. So the Sierra Leone's parliament has passed a historic bill, which that was towards the end of last week, bill criminalizing child marriage, and we could see the women celebrating that. I think we should have a video of that. The women celebrating that bill that was passed. Okay, so this is them here. And the tag, finally, our children are now protected by law. No more child marriage in Sierra Leone. So just to give you a background, so the First Lady of Sierra Leone, Fatima Mada, expressed her support of the move. Now, in her words, she says that Sierra Leone's parliament today unanimously passed the Prohibition of Child Marriage Bill 2024, a crucial piece of legislation that she championed, that is, I championed. This private members' bill outlaws child marriage, a harmful practice that has long plagued the nation. And she says that I extended my sincere appreciation to the CSO, the Child Rights Coalition, the Police Wives Association, the Military Wives Association, Save the Children, the Ministry of Education, the school-going children, and teachers that were present at the parliament, and a host of others that were, constantly advocating for the legislation. And she further went to say that often, due to poverty, many girls in Sierra Leone fail to stay in school. They are then married off by their families in a bid to improve their financial situations or to pay off debt. And now with this implementation, that is the bill, that won't be the case anymore. And it was written in capital letter, not anymore. So a huge congratulations to the people of Sierra Leone and to the women and girls in Sierra Leone who are going to be enjoying this great and historic bill that has been passed. It's a good one for the people, I think.
Yeah, definitely a welcome development. Each year, about 12 million girls are married before they are 18. And when you analyze that stat, that's about 23 girls every minute and nearly one every 2 seconds. Now, when you come to Sierra Leone or in Africa, but basically here now, since our focus is Sierra Leone, the stat is even more heartbreaking. And it's not just the girls. A certain percentage of boys are also being made to get married before the age of 18. So, I mean, while this is a welcome development, saying that, girls are going to be allowed to get to a certain stage before they are married off, I think we should also look into boys, some of them who are forced to get into this institution, into this other life of marriage, when obviously they are not ready, when obviously they should be doing other things with their lives. And I mean, this is basically an advocacy for both boys and girls now, those of them who are underage and who are not exactly mature enough, to get married. Let's focus on educating their minds and, having to get them developed and even equipped with skills so that eventually when they make that decision to say, look, I want to settle down, they will have something to take care of their families with. I think it was also this morning that I saw a tweet from the very vocal policeman on X. His name just escaped me now, reiterating that marriage of any child under the age of 13 is actually punishable under Nigerian laws. And in fact, if you as a parent, you're found to be complicit in that particular act, you would be arrested for, being an accessory to that particular crime. And I think it's something that should be taken serious, no matter where it's happening, no matter what cultures it might be stepping on, as it were.
All right, let's now move to Kenya, where, of course, for the past couple of days, there have been uprising over there.
But
And
apparently there's peace now, or something in that form.
all right, there is a video of young people protesting, and it was what caught my attention in this video is the fact that they were using the tear gas as smoke, which is really, really unhealthy. And so someone says, when they pass you a tear gas, you use it to smoke. This is really harmful and unhealthy practice. And that was, it's crazy. It's really crazy.
Well,
This is what you shouldn't ever, ever try. You should never, ever try that. Because this would, when they start treatments, you won't be there.
I mean, apart from the health implications of this also raises questions about the, what's it now? I'm looking for any other words to use other than the mental state of the young men and the women who are engaged in this protest. Yes, it does seem like a noble thing that they're doing, trying to call government to order, trying to demand accountability, and you might say what is right from the government, because how do you begin to levy unnecessary taxes on the people? Basically, there's a tax on every item that you go to buy out there on the streets. So the uproar, the uprising, the response by the people of Kenya was actually quite expected, and you might say justified. But then again, when you see acts like this, you need to ask yourself, okay, the people who are actually going on this protest, do they understand exactly what they are protesting about? Do they get the full import of what they are saying that government shouldn't do? But in any case, it's good to see youths out there on the streets, you know, actually making reasonable demands. And at the end of the day, we could see that whatever they were demanding for, the government actually listened. President William Ruto was talking about listening and reflecting on the demands of the protesters, and that necessitated the withdrawal of the finance bill. So right now, we cannot categorically say that, yes, the protests have come to an end. But obviously, that's been a development with regards to the finance bill, where we understand that that has now been withdrawn, even though lots of people have lost their lives in the middle of the uprising in Kenya. But I think what has happened more is that a lot of commentators have now begun to more like praise the boldness and the energy and I mean the resilience of most of the Kenyan youth, you know, having to, you know, take to the streets to demand for what is rightfully theirs.
All right, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. We wish them greater days going forward.
And hopefully, maybe we could take a cue. Maybe Nigeria and other African nations would take a cue, you know, from what has happened there. I think there's lots of lessons to be learned with regards to democracy, with regards to demanding accountability from our leaders, with regards to making sure that government is responsive to what is the yearnings of the people. There's quite a lot we can learn from what has happened in Kenya.
Absolutely. Well, if you look at your time, it's about a few minutes before we run out of here. And it's good to end on a happy note. And that would be, would you be able to go on with this? I mean, you love adventure, I guess so. But would you be able to go on this desert game? Let's check it out. No, thank you. I'm not that adventurous.
I mean, it does look exciting. It does look like something that will make you scream while you're sliding down the very sandy plains. I mean, there are several other things you could do to have fun, but you know how it is that there are some people who are excited when there's something risky to do, in the name of fun. So whether it's doing something like this, or being on a roller coaster, or being on one of those things that turns you upside down and then you're screaming, there are some people who really, really love things like that. So if you're one of those, wish you all the very best. But I mean, there are far more dangerous things: skydiving, uh, parachuting, paragliding. There are lots of things that are even far more dangerous in quote than this one.
I wish them well. It's your money. I can't tell you how to spend it. So, if these are the ways you intend to spend your money and enjoy your life, if it makes you happy, then I'm fine. It's all about what makes you happy. And with that, we would say we have tried for today.
All right, see
I
then.
think
Thank you
so.
so much for being there. Thank you so much for staying tuned and being part of our journey this morning. That's a lot to look forward to in the month of July and in this week. Go follow us on our social media platforms at Official Rapid TV on Facebook and on Instagram. And remember, we have a YouTube channel where all of our videos are uploaded. You can follow, be part of lots of the conversations that we've had on the show, and make sure you follow your favorite people as well. And so until tomorrow, when we will be back here again. Ogochukwu Madame is my name.